Hey everybody, it's me, Remy the Comic Book Poser, and I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. You can see by the surroundings and probably the weird echo that you get from the concrete jungle that is my classroom that it's a planning period weekly picks. So, to find out what books I liked from last week's New Comic Book Day that I think you should pick up on this week's New Comic Book Day, y'all check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right. The end of the month is coming in, so if you want to enter your chance to win in my Patreon giveaway, then you've got a few days left to hop in for the month of March. But this month's giveaway is as shown on my Instagram yesterday, or shown on my Instagram over the weekend, was the 1 in 50 incentive variant for Radiant Black #1. This week's top 5 is weird, because it's not all indies. There's a Marvel book, and there's a DC book. So coming in at number 5, and this is something that I was told I should pick up from a couple of people, especially the boys over at Comic Burrito, namely Cole yelling at me for being a big fan of Dan Mora's art and then not picking this up. Detective Comics 1034. This is written by Mariko Tamaki. Dan Mora is on the art, Jordi Belair is on the colors, and Aditya Bidkar is on the letters. So in 1036, in Detective Comics 1034, this is the second Detective Comics book that I've read, and you see that they're still dealing with the fallout of the clowns, of the Joker, the Joker War remnants kind of raining hell on the city. And here's kind of a good 2-page spread that shows what Dan Mora's art is looking like in Detective Comics. I think this is the first one that he was on. I don't know if he did the 2 Future State titles, but somebody can correct me in the chat over here, in the comments down below. But watching him kind of play his, Bruce Wayne play his life out, especially as he's living in like the new brownstone downtown, is interesting, especially when you see the network of like new bat caves that he's having to create. I don't know, all around it was something that I was pretty intrigued by. You get a nice Robin appearance in here at the end in the second story, The Demon Detectives, which is essentially meant to set you up to read Robin #1. So we get the dark costume that was teased in the most recent Batman book. You get the setup of the conflict, I think, for the Robin book in the end, and I don't know if the character who is revealed on the last page as kind of the big bad for that arc, if it's a first appearance of a new person or if that's someone that exists, again, because I don't read a whole lot of Batman. But I really enjoyed it, and Tech is now safely on my pull list. Coming in at number 4, I really enjoyed the first release of this book. Issue 2 came out last week. You've got Stray Dogs #2 from Image Comics. This is written by Tony Flex. The artist is Trish Forstener. The colorist is Brad Simpson, and the layouts are done by Tone Rodriguez. The flatter, which I know the Comic Burrito guys like to talk about, is Lauren Perry, and it doesn't say who the letterer is. I don't know. But this picks up with the idea that the master of the dogs may have killed somebody in the first book, and you see 2 of the animals, 2 of the dogs, kind of wander around the house to look for more evidence. And you start to get to see the master at work as he takes one of these dogs out for a ride. Presumably, if he's as bad as you think he is, then he's gonna probably kill the dog. But what you discover when he returns is that he's, back with potentially a new dog, and you see that really he's taking these animals to a dog park. But you learn what his motives may be as he goes to the dog park there, that he might be kind of shady. I don't want to show how the dogs kind of figure things out, but the reveal at the end of chapter 2 does kind of confirm that he's a bad guy, that the dogs set us on the right track at the end of issue number 1, and I really, really enjoyed this one. The book that I was the least sure about whether or not I would enjoy this week is Marvel's their first shot at new property to them, right? Coming in at number 3 is Alien number 1, and I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I did. I have started picking up and reading a lot of the Alien and Predator stuff from the Dark Horse collection of properties. I know there were a lot of people who were afraid of kind of the potential goings on in this book. Is the House of Mouse going to, sanitize the Alien universe a little bit? Sorry, and I'm trying to find who the creative team is on here. So the writer of Alien is Philip Kennedy Johnson, who I also think is doing the new Superman run at DC. You've got Salvador LaRocca on the art, who crushes it, and then Guru EFX is the colorist, and Clayton Cowles is doing the letter work. So I knew I would be intrigued by the use of the Alien, not just from the cover of the Alien books, but also the different Alien covers that they were doing. And just 2 pages in, you get kind of this nice full spread of all of the different kind of xenomorphs and the different alien species in kind of their creeping terror. This focuses on one man who is retiring from one of the stations that kind of orbits Earth. The goal is to keep us safe from a attack or infestation of the alien species. You see that he's having kind of a rough go, that he's dealing with some PTSD, that he is meeting with a therapist that ends up being an android, that you find out that they can just transmit his sessions to another android when he returns to Earth for his retirement. But you also meet his son, who he has not seen in a while, and you can tell that there is a stressed relationship between the two of them, probably because the dad has been up on the station forever and kind of has neglected the relationship with his son. But as you hit kind of the first climactic moment of the book, you see that the son's motives in meeting his father for a beer are what's going to set up kind of the big conflict of the arc. And the Epsilon station, which we see our main character leave during the beginning of the book for his retirement, is something that's going to be probably the primary setting for the rest of the books. But I really enjoyed it. I like kind of how they're setting up their version of the alien universe. We can see that there, clearly is a conflict amongst humans in this one, but also very, very soon we will see our lovely friend, the alien, play their way into some blood. Coming in at number 2 is Shadow Doctor number 2 from Aftershock Comics. This is written by Peter Calloway and with art by George Shanty, Wancho on the colors, and Charles Pritchett on the letters. I really enjoyed book 1 of this. It is the biographical telling of the story of Peter Calloway's grandfather, who wants to be a doctor in Chicago, but gets cut out of the loop because he's black. And there are still color barriers at hospitals. We see a couple of times in the dialogue in both issue 1 and issue 2 about how nobody wants to attend a black doctor. We see his meeting with Al Capone, which is kind of teased at in the end of the first book, but you kind of see a humane side to Al Capone, where Calloway's grandfather is asking for a loan to build his own medical clinic, and Al Capone very clearly early on is like, you don't want to get a loan from a person like me, right? Because he's kind of showing heart of not wanting to take down Calloway's grandfather if he's not able to pay him back. But you get an interesting kind of dialogue between the different elements of the Capone family, and ultimately figure out kind of what happens to where Calloway's grandfather may fall into Capone's good graces, and we find out if he gets the money, and kind of how the longer connection between the Calloways and the Capones come in. The element of surprise at the end of this is going to set up some chaos for books 3 and 4. So if you're not reading this and you want both a good crime story and a good kind of personal biography, then definitely check this out. The last book is something that I've been surprised that I would like this series, that when issue number 1 was coming out, I mentioned how I might be scared of it because clowns are not my bag, but we've learned that throughout all of the books that clowns may not be the sole focal point of the series. So coming in as my pick of the week is Haha issue 3. And this is the B cover. I think it's really, really cool. But it's written by W. Maxwell Prince. The artist is Roger Langridge. And then this cover is done by Paul Rentler. I like silent issues of comics that it allows kind of a good way to focus on the art. And I think it's interesting that you've got a very famed cartoonist in Roger Langridge who's doing the art to kind of drive this story. But this is called Remy Says, and it's about it's a tale about a mime who is struggling to get people to donate to him as he's busking in the streets. But then out of the blue, as he's kind of going through a scrap heap to get some money because he finds a flyer that's like $20 for scrap metal, he finds this robot that kind of becomes his partner, and that's what sets up kind of the tragic story for both characters, both Remy and both the robot and the mime throughout this. And this becomes yet another issue of Haha that I think is quite good. I am still looking to see how everything kind of comes together in a bigger universe, if that's even the plan, or if we have a different kind of setup than we do in Prince's Ice Cream Man. Either way, it's a good series that it's different enough to justify the pulling of both books, in my opinion, and I'm a big fan. What do you think about my picks? I know you're probably letting me know in the chat over here, or if you're in the rewind, in the comments down below. Let me know if there's a book that you think I missed out on this week that you think is better than my top 5 of the week. But you know what the grind will be for the rest of the week. You'll see my pull list tomorrow. You will see on Wednesday an unboxing. I think I've got Wild Comics coming up where I make fun of myself for not knowing anything about some big books. I've got all kinds of weird things coming up this week. But don't forget, Thursday night you'll probably be able to check me out over on Hydra Comics' channel for the Indie Comics podcast, where it's just off the rails. Sunday night we've got another Poser and Pals auction, and we're still, climbing that mountain to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't yet, check out this video linked here at the top. It's the first part of my 1,000 subscriber giveaway, kind of showing off what I've got for some prizes and telling you what you need to do in terms of keeping an eye on certain things to get some bonus entries. But as always, y'all, thanks for stopping by and have a good one.
Thank you for being a friend. And I want to thank you. Thank you, silence.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on 2, 3, 4, 5.